In a single moment, your life can change. Moments with Marianne is a transformative hour that covers an endless array of topics with the best of the best. Marianne's guests are leaders in their field, ranging from inspirational authors, top industry leaders, business and spiritual entrepreneurs. Each guest is gifted and a true visionary, a recognized leader in their own work. They teach others to develop, refocus, and grow. Marianne will bring the best guest and sometimes a special surprise. Don't miss this. And remember, make every moment count.
Welcome to Moments with Marianne. My special guest today is Ben Wechsler, a Chicago-based consultant in thought leadership, creative problem solving, strategy, and innovation. Over the last 25 years, Ben has provided leadership consulting to many businesses, corporations, companies, executives, and entrepreneurs in understanding their unique knowledge. Welcome, Ben.
Hi, Marianne. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing wonderful over here. It's a great morning here in Chicago. I hope it's just as pleasant where you are and everybody else.
Oh, definitely. Most definitely. Well, you know, Ben, we're just going to get right into this. I mean, we've got a limited amount of time, and there's so much that I want to ask you and chat with you about. One of the things that I know most about you is that you are a teacher that teaches us about personal awareness. So for those of us who don't understand what that means, could you define that?
Well, definitely. I like to use puzzles, and I also like to use puns sometimes to understand things. So if you take the word awareness, and awareness is the most important thing that I teach. It's the center of everything that I do. If you take the word awareness, and if you had a sheet of paper in front of you with a pencil and you started spelling the word awareness, the first four letters spell the word war. Then if you look at the rest of the word, it's E-N-E-S-S. Well, if you change the letters around a little bit, it begins to make the word sense. So the way I define awareness is by that puzzle, and the puzzle itself is a point of awareness. When you look at that, it begins with a war, and once the process of awareness is actually beginning when you start to make sense out of the rest of it. So as we go through our lives and our challenges and experiences, and maybe a session with me, you're going through an awareness process where you're making sense out of things that are really confusing or stressful or maybe a lot of anxiety. So in my own life, I have some triggers that I know that is a learning point for awareness. I love problem solving. I love puzzles. And in most of the cases, and in fact all the cases, when I get to a truth point, I know that I've achieved awareness. It's a little more complicated than that, but that's my simple definition of awareness.
That is so interesting. That's so interesting. So if we want to be efficient and effective leaders in our line of work, personal awareness would be the first step towards making a difference?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, all the great leaders, in my opinion, are the people who are allowing themselves to use experiences to know more about themselves as well, so they can relate to the people that they're leading. I have a definition of the word success that I use on my website and in a recent article, and I really, really like it. A person is successful at that very moment, and only in that moment, when they are aware, and there's that word again, that a decision or a choice that they made had an impact on another person. And if we're always open for that and open to the awareness around us, we will see the power of our leadership, but we also will see the power of the leadership of the people we're leading, and we can empower them.
Oh, it's fascinating.
So personal awareness is very, very, very important in my work, as you can see.
Okay, Ben. So when did you become aware of who you are and what you wanted other people to see in you?
Wow. That is a great question, and it's something that keeps changing every day. I would say one example would be a choice I made 5 years ago to become healthy and take charge of my own health and physical well-being. And at the age of 50, I decided to start doing weight training. Now, weight training is the antithesis of everything I am. I'm raised as a classical performer. The concert hall was my life, not the gym. But I was overweight. I'm 6'3", and I was around 240 pounds, and my cholesterol was at 295, and my doctor insisted that I go on statin drugs. Well, I had tried statin drugs before, and I decided to stop them, and I was actually healthier after quitting the statin drugs than I was before. But I recognized the fact that I had a problem with cholesterol. Well, I did the research, and I found a gym, and I found a person that I trusted to train me, and I began heavy weight training. And the whole process was difficult at first because I wasn't used to being around people in the gym or doing that kind of weight training. 5 years now later, I've had 3 years of successfully maintaining a weight around 180 pounds. And my cholesterol has never been above 180, and I'm not on statin drugs, and my doctor's 100% behind me.
Well, that's fabulous.
And people I'm around on a regular basis look to me for advice in their own workouts, eating healthy, and so on. So in making that one choice, all of a sudden I have an aura around me of being an expert of being healthy and physically strong. I would also say that in my own work I became a stronger person. And that's also something that I'm aware of by the input that other people give to me in my daily life. So that's an example in my own life.
That's an amazing story. Now, did you think that your journey might ever become something other than being like professional? Did you, like, in other words, could this level of awareness ever be seen as spiritual?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, it's interesting you would ask that question because just the other day I was in a situation where I was at an event for leaders of startups. And it was a meeting here in the community where I live, and I decided to go and see what was going on. And one of the gentlemen who was there was a professional in the IT world. He was someone who worked on networking and problem solving within a large corporation. And he came to the meeting because he wanted to start his own business as an IT consultant. And everyone in the room immediately started asking him questions like, do you have a business plan? Do you have a marketing plan? And I just looked at him and I said, why is it that you want to become an entrepreneur? And he started going into justification that there were politics in the office. When things went wrong, he had to fix it. People would make decisions that were the wrong decisions, and then he was left to be the person to fix it. And he had to deal with personalities. He had to deal with this and that. And I stopped him, and I asked him again, why do you want to work for yourself? Why do you want to do it alone? And I reminded him that just because he was self-employed didn't mean he wouldn't have politics to deal with in an office, that if he was a contractor, he would probably be the brunt of the politics, much less having to deal with the politics as an employee. And he stopped, and everyone in the room stopped and thought about it, and he said, oh. And then he himself said, so you're thinking more of the emotional or the spiritual level? I said, absolutely. It's a personal inside experience that is beyond the emotional. It's spiritual. It is the center of how we become more aware, which I've said 3 or 4 times now. Yes, it is a spiritual experience. It is an experience that is above us, that keeps us going from moment to moment in our work.
Oh, it's fabulous. What a great story. And I'm sure he took some time to rethink that whole plan he had based on that discussion.
He's thinking of a lot of things right now. In fact, he took me aside afterwards, And he thanked me, and he said, I never thought about that. And I said, well, now you can experience it, and we'll see where you go from here. But every day I'm reminded of that. And it's those moments that have the most impact, and that's what I strive for, and that's what I look for in leaders, too. People who are vulnerable enough to allow themselves to experience that.
So what I'm hearing you say is the best teacher is most often our own experience. And just, in basically walking through that path and getting to a greater level of awareness. When did you know it was time to teach? Okay. When did you know it was time to teach others what you've been learning for so many years?
Well, like everybody else, I've always had jobs, and I've always worked for other people, and in many respects, I still am. There's an inside yearning for knowledge. There's an inside yearning for me to always be creative and helpful for other people. And then I started learning. I'm using the word learning here. Maybe that was not an accidental choice of words, but what I soon discovered is that I love to learn, but I also love to teach. And in my eyes, a teacher is not a person who knows how to lead another person through a process, but it's a person who knows how to lead a process that he has already gone through himself. The best teachers I've had were the people who went through the struggles and are constantly performing in their craft, not necessarily the person who learned how to teach their craft. And I've discovered that I was doing that. I've always had the yearning to teach, but I've always had the yearning to learn. And people started coming to me and asking me for advice, and I had a lot of success doing it, and I just had the wherewithal to discover that that's why I'm here. So I made that choice.
Well, I'm lucky enough to know you, Ben, and know that you are a great teacher. And I can see why people naturally will gravitate towards you, because you are so good at being able to help and assist them through certain processes or just understandings of their own life. And that's
thank you.
One of the things. Oh, you're welcome, definitely. Without a doubt. One of the things I was thinking about now, have you ever been stuck as you have advanced through your personal journey? You got to a point where you're looking like,
absolutely.
Okay. Well, let's hear about that.
Well, let me go this route. Many times I've been stuck. In fact, I think I'm an expert at it. And I've had several clients who've come to me who were stuck. All I can say from my personal experience and from helping other people is that when we're stuck, it's usually a sign that we are supposed to learn something about ourselves. Especially if we start having a visceral response to a situation. When I'm stuck, I'm not aware of it, but I'm aware of the emotion of being angry, or I'm aware that people are responding to me as if in an irrational way, or my clients will be irrational. They'll respond to things that I say to them, or their employees or their partners would say to them, or they're having a strong irrational response to little things. That's a sign that we're being stuck. But we've always felt the feeling like we're in a rut or we're in a deep hole and we can't get out. Those are all signs that we're being stuck. But the way to get out of that situation, at least for me, is to realize that there is something being replayed in my head. And for me, it's usually self-validation. That's for me. That's the learning process I went through. So I asked myself, I'm sorry?
No, go ahead.
I thought you were going to ask me a question there. So when I'm leading a client through the process, as you're going through a process like this, and you learn about yourself, and you find what it is that you're really responding to, If you're getting to the truth, there will be the opposite visceral response, which is a truth moment, and then all of a sudden the door is open to possibilities. And the universe will respond with opportunities to go in the other direction. For example, it was not until I was forced, after 5 years of being in the same gym where I loved everything about it, and I put all of my energy into going to that gym to be successful with what I was trying to achieve physically, the day came when the gym was no longer available to me through circumstances out of my control, and I had to go to another gym. At that moment, I had to be my own trainer. I had to divide my own program, and then I was starting to exercise on my own. And then all of a sudden, people are responding to me that I'm growing more than I was before. They're noticing more physical changes in me. And then it occurred to me that I was stuck. Yes, I was very happy in the other situation, and I was under good leadership, but it wasn't until I had to be in a situation on my own I realized how much I needed to lead myself rather than trust someone else to lead me through that process. And all of a sudden I have more opportunities to grow.
That's fascinating when we get to those aha moments going, we look back on it saying, I now see that was an area that I really was stuck in because there wasn't any growth, regardless if it's in the gym
Absolutely.
or in daily life. Now, let's say that I feel stuck in my pursuit of excellence. How would you help me move through that?
Well, the first part of that is a discovery process, and what is the being stuck? If you're a person who wants to take your organization or your enterprise in a different direction, but you're not able to do it because there's a partner or another leader who is fighting you, then you're stuck with You're in a situation of deciding, okay, is it the other person or is it me, and what can I do to move forward because I'm feeling held back? Well, again, we have to look at the situation from internal, but what if you were to go out and pursue other avenues in the business while maintaining the business and showing that you're having a lot of fun doing it? Well, the person holding you back is going to say, wow, I like the medicine he's taking. I want some of that. So you're leading the other person to go in the direction you want to go in spite of the fact. But if you're stuck because it's time for you to make a decision to sever a relationship, that's something we have to look at. Well, the process that I go with each client is very individual and very personal, but those are the directions I would go. Okay, where are we at with the person, and what do I see, and what can we discover together that can lead this person forward by cutting loose something? Okay. And what that is, in my case, I need to be in a situation where I could see the results of my own leadership with the gym, right? But I didn't know that until I made that change. Let me give you another example. May I do that?
Oh, of course.
Can I give you another example?
Of
Recently,
course.
I went on a trip to Denver to go to a workshop for a teacher that I really admire. But I was in a situation to go to that workshop to be for 5 days with people that I've known for 20 years, but I've never met. And for most of my life, I've centered my life here in the Chicago area. Well, this is my first time going to Denver. Well, during those 5 days, I was with people that I was very close to, and I was getting around, and they opened me into their lives. And for the first time during 5 years, I felt the true feeling of family. I hadn't felt that before. Well, my father died when I was 9. I love my sisters. I love my friends. That has nothing to do with it. But for some reason in this situation, I got out of the energy that I live on a regular basis for many, many, many years. And I'm with these people. And what I realized is that the aura of mourning my father's death or the impact of his disappearance was gone and lifted for some reason. Able to be open to the feeling of family. And I learned that this is a priority for me, is to have family. And my life changed from that point because I was open to that awareness. It was a total
fabulous
surprise.
Story. That's a fabulous accounting of that, yeah.
So what I would offer is that if you're stuck, make a change. It could be a physical environmental change, or it could be a physical change of going to a gym, or it could be immersing yourself into something that is totally different from anything you've ever done. Go to the theater, go to sports events if you're not a sports fan. And then all of a sudden things are open to you.
Or go to Denver, right?
Right. Don't go to Las Vegas, though. Don't go to Las Vegas.
Yeah, definitely Denver.
Because when you go to Las Vegas, what happens there stays there. That's not a permanent change anyway.
Okay, well, and on that topic, not Vegas, but on the topic of change. So do we ever experience setbacks? So in other words, if I get through a challenge today, will that ever happen to me again?
It could possibly happen again many, many times.
Okay. Does that have anything to do? Oh, okay. Let's hear about that.
Well, if we're in a situation where we're trying to build our body, and let's go back to the gym because that's something I mentioned before. Many times a lot of people quit going to the gym because they don't see the results that they want immediately. Other people, like myself, make quick changes, and all of a sudden the changes stop. You hit a plateau. Well, that's not a setback, but it can be it was perceived as a setback for me at one time because being a classical musician, I'm used to the fact that if I practice and practice and practice, I'm going to get better. But the physical body and the emotional and our emotions aren't necessarily like that. It's not something that we practice and get better. We have setbacks because there are cycles. There's so many things involved. Well, we also have lessons to learn, and we have a certain capacity for those lessons. So a setback is perceived as a setback because we're not making progress. And sometimes it's the issue that we're working on that's holding us back, that's making us perceive a setback when, in fact, we're moving forward. And that's when we need the perspective.
It's like So that's more of a false perception is what that is then about our own progress?
I would say it's a perception. It's only a perception. It's not good or bad. It's just a perception. And again, it's part of the awareness piece. It's part of awareness, and we just need to have the awareness, maybe from another person who's making an observation objectively, or friends or people, that we have to be open to seeing to make sure that the perception is a true one or not.
Okay. Now, does that have anything to do with learned behavior?
Absolutely. We have learned behaviors from our family, from our organizations that we go to on a regular basis. We have learned behaviors that come from our experiences in the military, or perhaps even in work environments. If we work someplace for 20 years and all of a sudden we lose our job, we still have the learned behaviors of what was in the culture of that office if we go to a new office. Absolutely. We learn it.
Wow.
And part
Fabulous.
of what we need, absolutely. And so what we need to do is be open to the fact that some of our behaviors are behaviors that we learn, but not necessarily that are part of who we truly are. And that's where we get into some of my work with alignment. And are we truly in alignment with what we believe and what we want to become? And are we living in integrity with that? So that's all tied together, absolutely.
Well, on that note, we're going to pause for a quick break. We've been speaking with special guest Ben Wechsler. The questions I have for him next are around unique knowledge. What does that mean for us? Is it something that we can use in both our personal and professional life to move us forward? Stay tuned, and you'll hear the answers coming up shortly.
In 2012, after returning home from Iraq and Afghanistan, Sean Gobin hiked over 2,000 miles of the Appalachian Trail. Recognizing the therapeutic effects of long-distance hiking, Sean founded Warrior Expeditions, a veteran nonprofit therapy program that supports veterans transitioning from their military service by hiking America's national scenic trails. Equipment and supplies are provided, as well as assistance with job placement. For more info or to help support these veterans, visit warriorexpeditions.org.
Are you having an average day? Do you seem to be having more average days than great days? I help women turn that around. I'm Marina J, and I help thousands of women around the world live the life that's waiting for them. Visit me at marinaj.net to receive support and inspiration, because honestly, your happiness is everything.
There's an open invitation for inspiration waiting for you on Moments with Marianne Pestana. In a single moment, your life can change. Marianne's guests are leaders in their field, ranging from inspirational authors, top industry leaders, business and spiritual entrepreneurs. This transformative hour is every Thursday and Friday at 5 p.m. and 5 a.m. Eastern Time on the Dream Vision 7 radio network. Don't miss this. And remember, make every moment count.
Ben Wechsler is a gifted leadership development and strategy consultant for professionals who want to transform their organizations and careers. Through a uniquely personalized set of processes, participants discover their unique knowledge, how to leverage that knowledge and experience, and then put it all together with a global strategy. You're more valuable, your organization is more valuable, and the change is viral. Contact Ben at 630-881-1074, 630-881-1074.
Welcome back to Moments with Marianne. We're here with our special guest, Ben Wechsler. Welcome back, Ben. It's been such a pleasure having you on my show.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm enjoying it.
What? Well, this is a great conversation. I mean, you have so much wonderful information. So, Ben, you had me really intrigued with this conversation. And also, I understand that you teach people that they have a unique knowledge.
Yes, I do.
Can you explain a little bit more about what that means?
I'll try. It's a conversation that I have with my clients, and they understand it as we're talking face to face. And I can't see your face right now, and I can't see the face of my audience, but I'll do the best I can. It is my true belief and experience that every person was born with a unique knowledge, and we all experience this on a regular basis, in my judgment. And this is knowledge that we were born with. That I'm a strong believer of education. I have 3 degrees in college, so believe me, I do believe in education. But my experience of education is that it's more of a reminder to me, or an aha moment, that, oh yeah, that explains why this and this is happening. But every person is unique in what they're doing because they have this knowledge. I have one friend, for example, who was able to read a book on, to make it short and sweet, it's a book on communicating with, it's a metaphorical piece on communicating with animals, but he read it, and he can train a fly. He just read the book. I've read the same book, and there's nothing in that book that gives you a how-to explanation of how to do it. But he can hold out his finger, and within a few seconds, the fly will actually go onto his finger and stay there, and he can put the fly up to his shoulder, and the fly will go to his shoulder and sit there. I have seen this happen. How did he learn that? How
did he?
Horse, I don't know. He said it was a natural thing after reading the book. And he tried to teach me how to do it, and it didn't work. How do horse whisperers learn their craft? How is it that a person can stand in front of a classroom and hold the attention of all these people? That is not something that is taught. It is something that happens. It develops. How how is it that a person who is 3 years old can pick up an iPhone and learn how to play a game instantly when the mother or the father has trouble learning how to even send a text message? This is what I call unique knowledge, and it's our job to discover what that is so that we can live a full life in expressing who we are on this planet. So that's what I call unique knowledge. Excuse me.
So can I learn this on my own as far as unique knowledge is concerned, or do I have to find a special teacher such as you?
Well, I would hope that you would come to me and allow me to help you to do that. It is possible. It's a slower process. I think we all have the ability of discovering that, but I've developed a unique set of tools that help people understand that. Part of it's based on science, part of it's based on my own personal experience. But yes, I would hope that you would come to me or somebody else to help you learn that. Absolutely.
Okay, well, you really have my attention. So when I understand my own unique knowledge, why should I validate that?
That's a great question. How
would I even go about doing that once I discover it?
Well, you can validate it by using it, appreciating it. Let's say that I have the unique knowledge of being able to communicate. Well, let's say I can train a fly. That's a unique knowledge, right? Mm-hmm. That same skill, that same knowledge, whatever it is that brought that about, can be used in working with another human being in your own business. It can be used as a skill when raising a child. It's a skill that could be used in understanding relationships with other people. It is something.
So you're saying that these are translatable skills?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. So once I've understood my unique knowledge in whatever particular area, I can then translate it in other areas of my life?
Well, I would call it personal branding if you want to bring it into the business world. If I'm an entrepreneur that has unique abilities in selling, or if I am a consultant, let's say like this other person, and we go through the process of understanding that my unique knowledge is to be able to solve or fix problems. There's my personal branding. Just the knowledge itself, and by validating it, I have a whole creative process to go through to brand a website or to brand my business as a person who can fix anything, even though it's IT. There's a whole creative process involved there. And by validating it and understanding it and feeding it, then it will return, it sounds metaphysical, doesn't it? It will return to me the gift of understanding of how to describe it to other people, how to teach it, how to brand it.
Okay. Well, so unique knowledge and branding, I mean, what you're talking about has such a far-reaching impact. Could we actually transform a major company or organization with what you're teaching people?
Absolutely. I'll give you another example. There's a world-famous ballet here in Chicago that I got to work with. I was working with the marketing director, and they had a very specific issue in marketing that in order to get grant money, they had to be able to develop their audience with two very specific groups of people. They had the demographics down to 12 criteria in each. And they came to me and they said they have to come up with a way to market to these people and develop that audience or they will lose grant money.
Okay.
Well, I just looked at them and I said, all right, well, you have the market research to see what these people look like and these people look like. I'm going to ask you a question. And she said, what's that? And he said, have you done the same market study within the ballet company? And she looked at me and said, what do you mean? I said, what do the stagehands, what do the dancers, what do the executive team, what do the choreographers, what does the orchestra, the ushers, what do they say collectively you are? What is the same criteria for your own organization? And she said, oh, here's unique knowledge. So she went through the organization and did the same survey among themselves, and she came back thrilled because the criteria was the same. The criteria was the same among all three groups. The result was a very creative marketing campaign where they had pictures of ballet dancers on every single train in Chicago, every single bus, on every single wall. They had a 800% return in number of season tickets, not only within that one market, but the entire market, because they found what was unique within their organization and they validated it by expressing it in a very creative way. And that's why I say knowledge through awareness and creativity. You put all these things together, you have an extreme power in success.
So you're saying that knowledge, creativity actually are the driving force behind success?
Yes. I'm basically saying having an awareness and acknowledging what is unique and what you know that nobody else knows, you will be empowered to creatively express that. And the result is absolutely.
That's so great and so very important. So tell us, Ben, how did this knowledge change your life?
It's continuing to change my life. And I'm in an evolving process. Everything I do right now is, and has been, an open laboratory to becoming more aware of what's unique about myself. I've reached a point in my life through the working out, as I told you, and some other experiences going on in my own life where I'm beginning and empowered to express bravely what is unique about me, and the return right now is 1,000-fold. It's the most wonderful time of my life. And the clients that I'm working with on a regular basis are recognizing it while I'm working with them. And that's what's amazing to me. The more I'm validating what is unique about me, the more validation I get externally. And you know what? I don't need to validate it myself anymore. It's very empowering. And the people that I'm working with, one thing I say on my website is I bravely say that I have 100% success. And you know something? It is 100%. Every single person that I'm working with has success with the tools that we're building together, because it can't fail, because what I'm doing and what I'm helping people understand is their uniqueness is the power for them to live their lives. You can't fail. It's not possible to fail.
Do you have an interesting story to share with us in regards to transforming an organization, other than the ballet, like another one?
Absolutely. There was a company that I was working with that during the dot-com era, it was created by venture capitalists. Venture capitalists, it's hard to say, a venture capital firm bought 12 agencies across the country to build one large consulting firm in customer relationship management. Each one of those organizations was led by a CEO who would be paid at the end of a 3-year process if the organization was successful. Well, the problem was that each of those individual organizations started competing with each other to be more successful than the others. There was no congealing of the organization. Even though they were now one large corporation, they weren't acting as a whole. They were acting as 12 independent organizations with the same name. I helped the organization by telling the director of marketing, let's create a website that becomes a portal for all the intellectual property of the entire corporation and use that to market the corporation. And to do that, go and interview employees about their own services and create the site around that. So they did that. So they built the whole website around what the individuals who work for the organization throughout the whole country had to say about their services. They revealed the website at a national sales meeting, and the website got a standing ovation. And from that moment on, the organization became a congealed whole, and the whole corporate culture became unified because for the first time they had an expression of how unified they were. And it didn't come from the leadership. It came from the people who were actually in front of the clients doing the work. So a transformation happened through self-knowledge or unique knowledge of that organization.
And in that case, you would define unique knowledge as what? What was it that was a pivotal point there for them to come together?
I really like the question, Marianne, because you bring up a very important point for me when I work with organizations. So far, we've been only talking about personal transformation, haven't we? Well, what we forget is that, and what we forget is that an organization is an entity unto itself with its own knowledge, with its own personality, with its own expression of who and what it is. Everybody understands Apple Computer. Everybody understands Coca-Cola because these are very strong, recognizable brands. And if either company makes a choice in a product or a marketing campaign that goes against what they understand those organizations to be, they react just like they would to their best friend. You've betrayed me. Mm-hmm. Well, every organization has its own unique knowledge, which is based on the collective experience of everybody who works for the organization. And a good leader will recognize that the people who are out in the field doing the work for the organization is expressing that uniqueness when they are with the customer. If we validate what each person who works for an organization knows and understands, then it will come back and be seen as unique gifts. And if you want to transform a company, then you empower the people who work for the company to express who you are.
Okay, sign me up.
You're on.
How do we contact you when we're ready to move forward?
Well, I have a website. Thank you for asking. And it's my name, which is a hard name to spell, so I'll spell it out for you. It's benwechsler.com. And my name is spelled in the German fashion, not the way it's pronounced. It's BENWEC as in Charlie, H, S as in shadow, LER.com. benwechsler.com. I'm sure you're going to have a link to my website on your website as well, I believe, right?
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely.
And because I really like my name, my email address is the same thing. You can contact me on email at ben@benwechsler.com. And on my website, there is a button on the homepage where you can schedule a call with me so we can talk about my services if you like.
Okay, perfect. What I believe I'm hearing you say, Ben, is that this is most valuable for anyone, is really understanding your unique knowledge.
I believe, absolutely.
Okay. So to summarize, you work privately with individuals and customize your training for larger groups?
Yes. I take a look at an organization as an individual, but what I do is I work with individuals in their own leadership, or I work with an individual or maybe a small group of leaders of organizations to help with the organization.
Okay. Is there a limit to the size of an organization you'll work with?
No. They're all the same, basically. An organization with one employee is not different from an organization with 1,000 employees. It really isn't. What's different is the accountability for the decisions that the organization makes. And that's why it's very important for me to work with the actual leader or a small group of leaders. in a larger organization. It's because of that accountability.
Real change. Yeah, then real change can take place. So.
Yes, and change is fast. It usually is very fast because once the awareness is there of what the truth is, it's very easy to act on it. And it's viral. It really is instantaneous. It really is.
So when a person is working with you, how quick can they expect to see some change in their own lives?
One person I worked with, we saw results within 6 weeks. Now, it took 6 weeks because it took us that long to discover what the real issue is. In some cases, it can take a little longer. But when I'm working with an individual, it's pretty quick. The hard thing is the implementation of new habits, but that's a separate issue. The feeling of success, the empowerment of success is instantaneous. As far as organizations are concerned, it just takes as long as it takes for the organization to go through the process of instigating a process which sometimes requires approvals and has to get the information out. What I have seen and experienced, like in the organization I told you about with the website, as soon as the website was revealed, it took a year to make that website. But as soon as it was revealed and put into place, it went through the organization instantaneously. In the case of the ballet, it took her 3 weeks to create the marketing campaign and a few days for it to get out, and then all of a sudden they saw results. It's not as long as one would think. In my own life...
That is a pretty quick turnaround. That is a pretty quick turnaround for a large organization. So.
But someone like me, it took 50 years for me to get the message.
Well, I guess when we arrive is when we arrive, that, how amazing it is to be able to take our lessons of life, our skills and education, and help another person, make profound steps in their career, like you're doing.
Absolutely. And the thing to remember is what I said at the beginning of our conversation. You'll know you're successful because you'll have one of those moments where you'll become aware that you had an impact on another person. That's a powerful moment. It can be as simple as changing a hairstyle. It can be as simple as buying a new car. You always wanted a red car, so get that red car. You know what? Immediately, when my mother, at the age of 72, I can't remember exactly what age it was, she decided she was going to buy the car she wanted, and it was a bright red car. She was the most popular person in her town.
I bet. Good for her, and just making that change,
Absolutely.
And can it be as simple as something like that when you're working with people? Sometimes is it a very simple change that needs to take place, or is it do you often see it over the board being more of a, like how you say it took 6 weeks for that one individual, a little bit more timely in discovering what is going on?
Well, I'm going to answer your question this way. It is that simple, but it's not a simple process to make the right choice. For example, I could decide to walk into an office space wearing tank tops, and because I'm starting to work out in the gym and I look good in a tank top. That's going to make a change, but I'm not sure that's the appropriate change we're talking about. But if I've gone introspectively and I found and I became an awareness of something about myself that always has been true, which is that I'm strong and I'm healthy, all I have to do is have that awareness in myself and not necessarily wear tank tops, but I may change my wardrobe. I may find closer fitting shirts, not the kind that squeeze me to death so that shows muscles, but things that's more comfortable with the physique that I now have, or something as simple as wearing skinny jeans instead of the baggy jeans that I used to wear. In fact, I can wear the same pant size I wore when I was in high school. That's amazing to me. But, that's not something that's It's something that shows that I'm confident with the choice that I made, or it's an expression of the choice. And I'm not doing it to show off. I'm doing it because it's what's comfortable and it's who I am now. It's part of the awareness. It could be as simple as changing the car that you drive. It can be as simple as instead of carrying a briefcase to work every day, not carrying anything. It could be as simple as if you had a messy desk all your life, and then clearing the top of your desk and not having anything on the top of your desk instead of what you're working on. Those are powerful statements to the people you work with on a regular basis. But they're also an expression of an internal change.
That is absolutely fantastic. Well, I have really enjoyed having you remind us all of our that we're unique individuals, and that we should capitalize on for sure, and just how we should capitalize on our natural and what's normal for us as individuals. I mean, it's not like these big leaps to make a change, but it could be, but it's sounding like a lot of these are, maybe simple shifts in either perspective or what it is that we do. Like if we have a messy house, clean up the house, clean out the clutter, clear our space, that kind of thing. Or, how you're talking about, working out, it's like, basically it's like cleaning out the clutter in our lives in many different areas, I guess. Is that kind of how you look at that?
Absolutely. On the surface, to us, it may be a simple switch and just throwing a switch, but externally to the people who are watching us, it's monumental. That there's a lot of power in that.
Most definitely. So tell us again, Ben, how can we contact you?
Well, the best way is through my website, which is my name, benwechsler.com. That's BENWEC as in Charlie, H, S as in shadow, LER.com. Or my email address, which is a repeat of that, which is ben@benwechsler.com. Or if you go to my website, there's a way to contact me by making an appointment for a phone call.
Fabulous, Ben. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time, insight, knowledge. It's always a joy to talk with you. And you really have a gift for being able to help people move beyond, just not people, corporations, companies, move beyond what it is that's keeping them from being spectacular. And I really appreciate you taking the time to be on my show today.
Thank you, Marianne. I enjoyed every minute of it, and I hope we reached a lot of people in a special way. Thanks to you.
Oh, thank you so much, Ben. The pleasure's all mine. It's been such a joy to have you on the show. I really enjoyed our conversation in regards to unique knowledge and look forward to having you on again. So if you're looking to connect with Ben Wechsler, his website again is www.benwechsler.com. I'd like to thank you all for tuning in today to Moments with Marianne. It's been my pleasure sitting here and chatting with you. And remember, make every moment count.
Join us next time for Moments with Marianne, when host Marianne Pestana brings another inspirational gifted leader to help us grow. Tune in every second Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time for Moments with Marianne, when the Dream Vision 7 radio network is at 1510 a.m. Boston. Or catch Moments with Marianne every Thursday and Friday at 5 p.m. and 5 a.m. Eastern Time by going to dreamvision7radio.com. To learn how Marianne started her business from the ground up, visit mariannepestana.com. Don't miss this, and remember, make every moment count.